currently finalizing plans to build a state-of-the-art C&D plant at our facility in New Westminster. This facility will almost triple our throughput, greatly improve quality of end products, and allow us to increase our landfill diversion rates to over 90% of the materials that we manage there.
I'd like to welcome you to Metro Vancouver's 2011 Future of the Region Sustainability Dialogue Series, where we're going to look at how we accelerate construction and demolition waste diversion. And thank you very much for taking the time to join us today. My name is Peter Holt, and I'm your moderator for today's dialogue. With our four distinguished panelists, we will explore the following questions. What impact will compulsory waste reduction and recycling on construction and demolition sites have on our industry practices? Will the banning of wood waste from disposal create major challenges for our industry? And what does this imperative for change mean for the industry, for local governments, and for those contemplating a construction or renovation project in the future? And finally, are there innovation solutions that will increase waste diversion in this sector while also generating positive economic and social benefits for our entire region? Before I go on, I would like to introduce Rick Green, the Mayor of the Township of Langley, for his opening remarks.
Thank you, Peter. Welcome and good afternoon. I'd like to begin by acknowledging and thanking our co-sponsors today: the Abbotsford Chamber of Commerce, the Surrey Board of Trade, the Delta Chamber of Commerce, the Greater Langley Chamber of Commerce, the Richmond Chamber of Commerce, and the White Rock and South Surrey Chamber of Commerce. The future of the regional sustainable dialogues are an important part of Metro Vancouver's Sustainable Region Initiative, a commitment we made in 2002 to formally put sustainability at the center of our operations and plans. For the past number of years, the sustainability dialogues have provided enhanced opportunities for learning and have stimulated fresh perspectives on issues facing the region. This is the second dialogue series that responds to Metro Vancouver's Zero Waste Challenge and our goal to achieve 70% waste diversion by the year 2015. As some of you may be aware, Metro Vancouver recently hosted its inaugural Zero Waste Challenge conference on March the 10th, 2011. To build on the momentum from the conference, we also convened a dialogue series on multifamily waste diversion, which concluded last month. The Zero Waste Challenge conference and dialogues and forums such as these help to generate new ideas on how we can all work towards zero waste and enhance the sustainability of our region. Now on to the subject of construction and demolition waste diversion. Did you know that construction and demolition activities generate 1.3 million tons of waste materials in Metro Vancouver each year? Today, we would like to explore how we can lower that number and ensure more waste material from construction and demolition sites is diverted from landfill. We have four distinguished panelists for us today. Our moderator, Peter Holt, again will provide a further introduction as well as some direction on how the dialogue will unfold. Again, thanks for coming, and I'm glad that you could join us as we look forward to the discussions ahead. Thank you, Peter.
Thank you, Mayor Green. There'll be a brief presentation from each of our panelists, followed by a free-ranging discussion. Now, as noted, we have four distinguished panelists with us today: Ken Karuska, Peter Simpson, Corinne Fulton, and Richard Babcock. Ken is the Division Manager of the Integrated Planning Division for Metro Vancouver. And in this capacity, he's one of the lead staff members on the Zero Waste Challenge. So, Ken.
Thank you, Peter. Start the clock. We're told that we have 4 minutes, 5, depending on how nice we are. Again, we've heard Mayor Rick Green talk a bit about construction and demolition waste and the Zero Waste Challenge. I think the purpose of my introduction is to give you a general overview of what we're trying to do at Metro Vancouver on this topic. Backing up, to give you a bit of short history, Metro Vancouver's Solid Waste Management Plan was approved by the board in July of last year. Right now, that plan is in front of the Minister of Environment in Victoria, awaiting his consideration and awaiting his approval. One of the key areas of that solid waste management plan, again, it's referenced in the materials and it was touched on by Rick, is the Zero Waste Challenge. We did host a Zero Waste Challenge conference in March. The Zero Waste Challenge is really aiming to change the status quo, look at increasing diversion of materials. The solid waste management plan, really one of its principles is that really to treat materials, treat waste, treat it as resources. So look to avoid using materials in the first place and then to see how best we can manage those materials as opposed to disposal. Again, now coming to the issue of construction and demolition waste, what is this material? Well, again, the panel, I'm sure, will get right into the specifics. A lot of the focus by the general public tends to be on what people are recycling in their blue box. And that's great, that's super. We need to do that, we need to divert organic waste and all that. But in the construction and demolition waste, it's an area that is primarily run by the private sector. Whether you're getting your home remodeled, whether you're having a home built, again, industrial buildings, commercial buildings, there's some figures on the amount of material that's generated. Some of us in the office joke about it. Yeah, there's a lot of this material generated. Why is there so much material? Well, some of these materials are quite heavy. But there's also quite a good recycling rate. And let's be fair to the industry. I think the industry in the construction and demolition waste field has one of the higher recycling rates. But it's also got probably one of the greatest opportunities. Half of the material that's disposed, that's landfilled out of the construction and demolition sector is wood waste. And I think, again, we're going to hear, I think, from 2 or 3 experts in that area that really have some great ideas on what can be done. What is Metro Vancouver going to do? I see that the clock is at 2 minutes and 47 seconds. So I'm just going to touch on 3 or 4 things that we're looking to do. And again, with the interest of provoking some commentary in the ensuing discussion. Number 1, mandatory recycling for construction and demolition. Right now in the residential waste, you will have your blue box. There's ample opportunity for that. Recyclable materials are banned from your residential garbage. But in construction and demolition waste, I'll tell you, recyclable materials are not banned from disposal. But we want to mandate the recycling in the construction and demolition industry. To go with that, number 2, we think there's a need for more convenient drop-off areas, for whether it be for homeowners, contractors, the trades, to take their materials, an area where they can take their materials that's more convenient than disposal. Again, it will allow the private sector to get their hands on some of this material. Number 3, again, on the premise that wood is one of the largest fractions in construction and demolition waste, we are having discussions, and the solid waste plan talks to the issue of banning wood from disposal by 2015. 3 easy things. I think they're quite challenging initiatives, and certainly we want to hear your thoughts and certainly welcome the discussion with the panel. We want to, at Metro Vancouver, really help be a piece in creating the right conditions for the private sector, for yourselves, for the industry to really go beyond the 70%. And I think there truly is the opportunity for that in the area of diversion in construction and demolition waste. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Canon. Next is Peter Simpson. Peter is the President and Chief Executive Officer of the Greater Vancouver Home Builders Association. And Peter's won many industry awards and has been named as one of the most effective voices on behalf of the Canadian residential construction industry over the years he's been doing the job. An advocate for affordability and choice in housing, Peter frequently provides commentary to the media on a wide range of housing-related issues. Peter.
Thank you very much. I'm pleased to participate here today, and I'd like to thank Metro Vancouver for hosting today's dialogue as well. When it comes to important issues such as waste management, we are all in it together, except the scofflaws, of course. Frankly, the Greater Vancouver Home Builders Association members are somewhat ahead of the curve. Nearly half of our 730 member companies are builders and renovators, and they're leaders in the residential construction industry, and they have for some time been committed to waste reduction and diversion. So with 76% diversion already achieved, we're already exceeding Metro's target of 70% by 2015, but we do have a lot of work left to be done on wood waste. Many of our members have adopted waste management practices associated with green labels such as LEED, Built Green, and others. And the organization I represent and Metro Vancouver share the same vision for waste reduction. How we achieve that vision is where we might have some minor differences of opinion. We believe, for example, that the draft sample regulatory mechanism, as is currently written, will have an increased burden on not only our industry, but homeowners and municipalities. It also penalize those who choose to operate above board and play by the rules. And it is very tempting for homeowners to choose inexpensive and less onerous avenues. This year, in Metro Vancouver alone, $4.4 billion will be spent on home renovation, repair, and improvement. And astonishingly, we believe, and this is a conservative number, that at least 30% of those $4.4 billion will be spent in the underground economy, where there are no written contracts, permits, inspections, WorkSafe BC compliance, liability insurance, or tax remittances. In fact, no paper trail at all. So we fear that introducing onerous waste management regulation and associated fees without the proper infrastructure in place will have the unintended consequence of exacerbating an already burgeoning underground cash economy. Instead, we support a method that allows whoever applies for a demolition, renovation, or building permit to make an agreement that their construction or demolition waste will be sent to an authorized, licensed facility. This ensures that that waste will be dealt with appropriately. And because of the constant contamination of sorting bins on site from waste being dumped in then by other parties off hours, and the extra 8 to 10 hours a week that staff is already spending to sort the waste, a number of our builder and renovator members have already moved to an off-site recycling model where a licensed facility sorts that waste for them. And it seems to be working out well for them. So this would avoid a significant amount of administration, paperwork, costs, and confusion for homeowners, renovators, builders, and municipalities. It will take away any uncertainty about how much of a recycling fee the permit holder will receive back, eliminate any subjectivity as to who decides what percentage was recycled, and any possible disputes regarding what diversion rates were achieved. So since the 1980s, I've been involved with a number of effective waste management initiatives associated with new construction, renovation, and deconstruction, and I'm sure I will have an opportunity to expand on them during the interactive question period of today's dialogue. Kermit the Frog says, it's not easy being green. And I'm not going to debate him, of course, but he's wrong. It is easy being green. We just need all stakeholders to work together to agree on responsible, efficient, and cost-effective ways to deal with the waste issue without imposing further impediments on all the stakeholders. And we need, as I mentioned earlier, to ferret out and censure the scofflaws who play by their own misguided rules. Thank you.
Next is Corinne Fulton. Corinne has worked in the demolition trade since 1974. As General Manager of 3R Demolition, Corinne's involvement is hands-on in all areas of the recycling and management business. Corinne has also spoken at many industry-related conferences with regard to leading the demolition industry into the new millennium with a focus on moving towards a much greener approach. Corinne. Applause. You've got your staff here, have you?
Hello, everyone. As he said in my bio, I've been doing demolition for a long time. I started by cleaning bricks, bought my first car, and then it just went from there. But anyways, I've seen a lot of change in the industry. The way we used to landfill, the way we used to do things, and the way we do things now, or try to do things now. And everything at one time all went to landfill. A farmer's field, whatever, it didn't matter. It was just all compiled and put in there, and topsoil put over the top, and new grazing land for the cows. Anyways, as things have changed for the better, I want to talk today about the environment and the worker. They're my main focus because there's a lot of unlofty people doing things out there, as Peter was just talking about, and to me, those are the main things that we need to address, as well as the stakeholder thing about getting waste reduction down. I don't know if you're all aware of this, but the majority of the DLC waste comes from single-family dwellings. That's singly the one that, you know, a house, if you think about how many blue boxes that you have at your house and a year's worth of blue boxes, how many would it take for one of those bin trucks to fill up, that you guys are doing your part, and how much is it from a house? There's maybe 3 loads of demolition in a house. You think about that they're not separating it. Anyways, our company mostly works in the commercial industrial sector, and it's not to say that we don't do residential work, but we mostly focus in the commercial sector. And between the residential and the commercial sector, there's a major difference. The commercial sector, pretty much always you can have a pre-demolition report, which identifies any hazmats that are there on the project or whatever, and the building envelope is tested, like the drywall, and they do all their research and stuff. So things that you would come across are asbestos drywall, asbestos flooring, PCB light ballast, mercury switches, lead paint, and stuff like that. So it's very important for me as a company owner and for my employees to ensure that safety is of the utmost importance for them. And the secondary thing to that is those things are removed, so therefore they're not going into our landfills. They're being put away where they should be properly. So how it kind of works, in case you are not aware, maybe I'm preaching what you already know, but what happens is we get the report on the job, we bid it accordingly, and then the work kind of goes, you do the asbestos, you hire an abatement contractor, a notice of project is sent to WorkSafe, all the guidelines are done with WorkSafe and whatever. The building is cleaned out of all the hazmats, and sometimes we work in conjunction with the abatement contractor as a demolition contractor, but most of the time we work after it's clean. And then basically we go about doing what we're doing. Hazmats are taken off-site and go to their respective facilities for safe disposal, and we carry on with the demolition work. The commercial side, because there's usually more space and the components of the building are bigger, it's easier to recycle it out. So it's easier to recycle the steel and the metal and the drywall and the carpets or whatever. It's easier to do that, whereas you have in a residential world, where most of this waste is coming to the landfill, it's not as easy. And the second thing about that is when we get phone calls from a person off the street that wants to have their home done, the first question that we ask them is, do you have a pre-demolition hazmat report? And I would say 7 out of 10 of them say, no, what's that? And they don't know. So we go through all the spiel of, what it is, why it's required. We give them names of consultants. They ask how much it's going to cost, and we say, well, we don't know, because of course it all depends on what your house contains. So I've been working with committees for a lot of years, and the City of Vancouver, a number of years ago, I was on a committee, and basically what they've adopted is a pre-demolition hazmat report must accompany your paperwork in order to get a demolition permit. And I'm not saying it's the total right answer, but I'm saying it works in the sense that people now go to the City Hall to apply for a demolition permit, and they're told these are the things that you have to prepare and do. So now what's happening is these people are getting these reports, and they're understanding more. So it's, beep, I'm off. Okay, so anyways, the owner basically understands, and it goes on, and he gets his hazmats done, but most of the stuff is ending up in landfill too, the wood waste and all that stuff. There's ways to do it. I don't think hand deconstruction is the right answer. I think being able to do machinery demolition and source separating is the answer. But I think that we're on the right track, and I think that the catch basin is that the cities need to get involved with their permitting, and I think they need the ones that need to tell the story out there of what you can do and what you can't do, because everybody has to go to the city for their permits. And that's my philosophy anyways. Thank you.
Okay, no problem. Green just said sorry for going over time, but he was all right because Peter donated about 30 seconds of his, I think, so we're okay. Okay, next is Richard Babcock. Richard is the General Manager and Vice President of Business Development for Harvest Power Canada Limited. Richard is a CMA with over 25 years' experience in finance and business development, and he's passionate about sustainability and an ardent supporter of triple bottom line business practices. Richard.
Thank you, Peter. Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us today. Harvest Power, doing business as urban wood waste recyclers, currently processes 170,000 metric tons of C&D waste per annum. We recycle or reuse over 70% of that material. And we currently employ 85 people at our 2 facilities in Vancouver and New West. Urban is #1 in the region for processing and recycling construction waste materials. And our business practices are focused on extracting the maximum value out of the C&D waste that we manage. In May of 2008, when still doing business under the old ownership of Urban Wood Waste, we purchased the 12 acres of land that we operate on in New Westminster. The land is on the Fraser River and provides us with carbon-friendly access to biomass fuel markets in the region. Within 2 weeks of buying that land, we gave a presentation to the Metro Vancouver Solid Waste Management Committee to announce our intent to grow the business to as much as 600,000 tons per year. To achieve that kind of growth takes capital, cooperation, and a serious dose of commitment. In September 2010, Harvest Power successfully completed purchasing Urban, and thus the capital raising initiative was completed. As a result of that deal, Urban now has a sister company in Fraser Richmond Soils, as Harvest purchased Fraser Richmond in September of 2009. Together, the 2 companies manage over 400,000 metric tons of solid waste, C&D waste, and organics per year, Harvest Power's strategy for growth has 3 key elements: technology, geography, and innovation. With technology, we are currently finalizing plans to build a state-of-the-art C&D plant at our facility in New Westminster. This facility will almost triple our throughput, greatly improve quality of end products, and allow us to increase our landfill diversion rates to over 90% of the materials that we manage there. Geography. We plan to add 2 new MRF, or material recovery facilities, within the next 24 months, and also are looking to establish multiple C&D collection facilities in the region. Accessibility is one of the key constraints on diverting construction waste from landfills, and we plan on solving that problem. And innovation, the third element. This is not only how we manage the waste that we process, it is about how we do business in the community. For Harvest, how we do business is one of the foundations of our strategy, especially when the two primary stakeholders are the environment and the communities that we do business in. In our view, social currency is easily as important as the currency of dollars. We are committed to being a leader in the sustainability initiatives in the Metro Vancouver region. Sean Maberly started Urban Wood Waste in 1993. Sean and his brother Joe were the only employees at that time, and the goal was to have 20 trucks a day come into the facility. Sadly, we lost Sean in November of 2009. In order to complete what he started, we must remember as a group that entrepreneurial spirit is the foundation of progress. And to bring that point to bear, I'll bring a quote from a futurist. Vision without action is daydreaming. Action without vision is putting in time. And vision with action can change the world. We are here today, how we are doing business today is a testament to Sean's spirit and commitment to that vision. To achieve the goals of the Zero Waste Challenge, we need to adhere to that same spirit and commitment and operate together as a group and as a community. Thank you.